Hi, I'm David Chandler, a retired Master Sergeant of Marines, a process improvement analyst, a student of history, and a political systems analyst. In today's presentation, we will review the progression of principles that instituted local governments as a time-honored guardians of liberty. At the end of this presentation, you will understand the necessity of counties and townships as equal partners in the administration of Michigan. Self-government. Are we to govern ourselves in fellowship or be ruled by those undeserving of our trust? The government of the people, for the people, and by the people is the best form of government for protecting the rights and property of the people. These rights are easiest protected at the local level by sovereign local governments. Bottom line up front, our townships and counties, being the most direct representatives of the combined wealth and political will of the people, have an inherent right to be equal partners in the administration of Michigan. Townships and counties arose from local community governments of the past. These governments are directly connected to the people and are geographically measured to the human scale. In this presentation, we'll identify the historic documents of liberty, the Holy Bible, Magna Carta, Mayflower Compact, the Law of Nations, Declaration of Independence, Articles of the Confederation, the Federalist Papers, the U.S. Constitution, Bill of Rights, and Volume 16 of American Jurisprudence. The documents which trace the development of local governments as rightful representatives of the wealth and political power of the people demonstrate that local governments are the sovereign power of a nation. Greater governments are artificial fabrications designated to protect the liberty of the people, serve the state of the count or county by establishing peaceful and prosperous relations with neighboring communities and forming a union of shared society. Greater government's purpose is to standardize commerce between these various communities and to help resolve disputes between them. So we're going to cover the history of all these documents now. The Holy Bible. The Holy Bible is the origin of the concept of liberty. Let my people go in Exodus, Moses said to the Egyptians. And we've been working on liberty ever since. It follows the path of a people struggling with God to define proper liberty under the law. It describes a way of being that encourages the exercise of liberty. It illustrates the sacrifices necessary to retain liberty. It illustrates that the law is a mechanism used to serve justice. The law is not the means to the end. And it warns against hazards associated with surrendering of liberty. Every lesson learned by mankind can be found in the Bible. For those people with an atheistic leaning, imagine 10,000 generations of your forefathers calling to you to follow these teachings to live a happy, meaningful life. The story of Jesus holds a vital lesson here. Jesus' struggle against the Pharisees demonstrates that a bad system will beat a good person every single time. Even the Son of God can be brought down by a bad system. This lesson is a description of our situation today. You can't, as Jesus was trying to do, you cannot work within the system. You have to change it. The Magna Carta in 1215. The Magna Carta was the first document in history subjecting a ruler to the law and to the sovereign authority inherent in local governments. It mandated that the king respect the rights and sovereignty of the local magistrates to administer their lands. The Magna Carta established the right of free men, primarily guaranteeing them access to fair trials by jury, protection from arbitrary imprisonment, and the principle that even the king was subject to the law. The Mayflower Compact of 1620, the first charter made by the people, of the people, and for the people, established due to the colonists' failure to reach Virginia and exercise a patent which had been issued by King James. Because the patent had been issued for a specific geographic area, a new charter was required to legitimize the colonization of New England at Plymouth, Massachusetts. This compact established a civil body politic as opposed to the issued royal patent, which established a commercial corporation. The Mayflower Compact represented a properly orientated community established for the benefit of the community and not for foreign investors. The Mayflower Compact was the first governing document of Plymouth Colony signed on November 11, 1620, by passengers of the Mayflower. The Mayflower Compact was a legal agreement that established a civil body politic and a government for the colony. It bound the signers to obey the government and the legal system and established principles for liberty and tolerance among the colonists. It was instituted by separatists, Puritans, adventurers, and tradesmen seeking a legal contract that would unite them in the common effort to begin a colony in the wilderness. The Mayflower Compact remained in effect until Plymouth became a colony as part of the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1691. The Mayflower Compact is considered the oldest surviving compact based on popular consent. The Mayflower Compact brought English concepts of law and liberty to the New World. The right to worship as one wished, instituted in the Compact, is embodied in the First Amendment of our new Constitution and Bill of Rights. The Law of Nations, written in 1758 by Emery Vattel, documents the proper exercise of authority necessary for a government to achieve peace and prosperity for its people. It was utilized as a reference by the American founders to form a new national government. This book was in Liberty Hall with the founders so that when they were putting together the Declaration of Independence and when they were putting together the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence identified the sources of our rights as a creator, defined the limits of government, listed the violations of these limits, listed the number of times grievances went unanswered, and declared independence in response to these abuses. The Declaration of Independence summarized the rights of mankind and the relationship between men and government. It justified the alteration or abolition of government as a proper remedy once any form of government becomes abusive. The Declaration of Independence also listed the unresolved grievances the colonists held against the British government, many of which the American people suffer under the U.S. government today: taxation without representation, business killing regulations, and social corruption. Articles of the Confederation. The first Constitution for the United States was the Articles of Confederation. Established as a loose confederation of states, the states retained their sovereignty in all state matters. The national government acted as an agent whose purpose was the protection of the Union from foreign enemies. The Articles of the Confederation limited central government. Most powers were granted to the states. The central government had very few powers beyond defending the states as a group. It had an inability to tax. Congress could only request money from the states, but the states rarely contributed. Without the ability to tax, the central government couldn't pay debts or fund initiatives. No executive branch. The Articles of the Confederation lacked a chief executive or president, leaving America without a representative to conduct foreign affairs. No judicial branch. The Articles of the Confederation lacked a national court system or judicial branch. States had their own money. States had their own money systems, making commerce between them cumbersome and contentious, always trying to figure out what the exchange rate was. Federalist Papers, a collection of essays describing a new form of government under the proposed U.S. Constitution. Published under the pseudonym Publius in the New York papers before ratification by the New York Constitutional Convention of 1788. Principal authors: James Madison, John Jay, Alexander Hamilton. The Federalist Papers are an official reference used by the U.S. Supreme Court when seeking interpretations of the U.S. Constitution. U.S. Constitution. Based on natural law and common law, a contract between the people which formed a government as our unbiased agent. Limits the powers of the government. Establishes the people as the beneficiaries of the Constitution. Disputes between the government and the people shall be resolved in favor of the people. Supreme law of the land. Official acts made in conflict with the Constitution are null and void. Acts of nature or declared national emergencies do not override the provisions set forth in the Constitution. The Bill of Rights. A list of rights that the government cannot violate under any circumstances. Established as an extra protection against future government encroachments. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. The Ninth Amendment clearly states that the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The rights of the people are too numerous to list. Volume 16 of the American Jurisprudence. This is the American Encyclopedia of Law. Volume 16 of the American Law Encyclopedia defining constitutional law. Categorizes the principles of rights and liberty protected by the U.S. Constitution. Provides a wealth of knowledge for the common man, students of the law, attorneys, and government officials to utilize as a guidance for official acts. In review, in this presentation we review the development of the principles of liberty to gain a greater understanding of the importance of our townships and counties as natural guards against tyranny. It is due to these references that the words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident," became the foundation for our republic. Next time, the National Guards of Liberty. Townships and counties, utilizing the principles and traditions of liberty, can help to reestablish our republic. Direct representatives of the combined wealth and political will of the people, locally controlled by the people. Permanent borders representing both the land and the people. Recognized lawful government, possesses the power to oppose unconstitutional official acts. Decentralizes government. Atomizes corruption, localizing it and making it easier to overcome. And sovereign political bodies, necessitating direct representation in the state legislature. I hope this video was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you at the next presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.